especially if you're older and you spend all day sitting down. You gotta loosen up those hips before you start kicking. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take balance all the way out, and we're gonna use a chair or something where you can balance and hold on to. Okay, we're gonna start with just lifting your leg to the front. Now what I don't wanna do is I don't wanna swing my leg up. I'm gonna use my muscle here to lift my leg. So I'm gonna lift it straight up and back down. We're gonna do this 10 times. All right, after you've done that, now we gotta go out to the side. We wanna use the hip flexor here on the side, the glute medius and minimus right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my leg, I'm gonna do a slight pivot on my base leg. So I'm turning my heel towards the way I'm gonna swing my leg. Now, I'm gonna take this leg and I'm gonna lift it. Now again, I don't wanna swing it up. Okay, I'm trying to activate the muscle here. So I'm gonna lift and back down, just like this. And we'll do that 10 times. Now we're also gonna go backwards, so warming up the glute here. So I'm gonna put both hands on the chair. Now what I wanna avoid doing is opening up my legs, so I'm gonna keep my eyes forward. I'm gonna try to keep my toes pointed down. And this isn't gonna go super high unless you're very flexible, but we're just trying to warm up all 3 sides. You're gonna do that on both sides. All right, now the 3 basic kicks that everyone has to know is your front kick, round kick, and side kick. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the front kick. Now, the difference between a front kick in martial arts or a kick in something like soccer or football is you don't kick from the ground, okay? Now, if I'm kicking a soccer ball, I kick at the floor just like that, okay? Now, with martial arts, what I wanna do is I wanna first lift my knee up and I'm kicking forward. Okay, so that's the major difference between a soccer kick and a taekwondo or karate kick. All right, now how do we practice that? So first we want to lift, so we're going to keep our hands up, eye high. Okay, I'm going to lift my knee, lift, so I got to balance, and then extend my kick. Now I don't want to just let my leg drop down. I'm going to re-chamber, kick, and then bring it back in and step down in control. But you say, what, Mr. Mullen, I don't have good enough balance to do that. Let me bring in an old friend. All right, so the chair we use to warm up with, we're gonna use that for these kicks as well. That will take balance out of it so you can focus on your technique. So I'm gonna hold on to the chair. Now I can pick up my leg and I can throw my kick nice and slow and put it back down. So practicing these kicks, do them about 10 times on each leg. Okay, you can do a couple of more if you really want to get that training in there, but it will get pretty tiring pretty quickly. So my hand is still up, even though I'm holding with this one, obviously I can't keep that one up. I'm gonna lift, kick, re-chamber, and then step back down. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to your round kick. Now your round kick, instead of going straight forward, is gonna go across the floor like this. Okay, so what we have to do is one more extra thing other than your front kick. So with your front kick, remember we lifted and pointed the knee to the front. With the round kick, we also have to do something called pivot, where I'm going to turn my body over so I can kick across, okay? Now again, let's take balance out of it for this, so I'm going to use the chair, okay? Now, I'm gonna lift. Now I'm going to pivot, which means I'm gonna turn my bottom foot heel towards the front. And I'm going to turn my body over. Now you see my heel is kind of back here behind me towards my booty, and then my knee is pointing towards my target. My hand is still up. I'm gonna extend, and then bring my foot back, and then I pivot back and step down. So I'm first going to lift, pivot, kick, and then set it back down. Now remember, each kick is gonna also have a re-chamber. So you have chamber, where you start your leg, kick, and then re-chamber and step down. All right, so the last kick we're gonna cover today is the side kick. Now the side kick is a pushing kick. So instead of where I'm striking with my round kick, the side kick is going to push out and come back in, okay? So I'm gonna use the chair again so we can have our balance taken out of the equation and only work on our technique. Now it is better to have the chair behind you as opposed to beside you for this kick, especially. So I'm gonna grab onto the chair, I'm gonna pivot my base leg. Now instead of chambering up to the side, I'm gonna go right into my belly and and then I'm going to pivot, keeping the front of my heel or the bottom of my foot towards the front. I'm going to press my leg straight out and then bring it back in. What I don't want to see is the knee coming across here. So now you see the knee is pointed forward. I actually want to point my heel forward and then pressing through the heel all the way to the front and back in, and then setting it back down. So here we go. We're going to lift, pivot, press, rechamber, and back down. Again, both legs, 10 times, all those kicks. Start practicing that, and you're going to have some amazing kicks. All right, so we're going to throw in a bonus kick. Now, what happens if you take a side kick and combine it with a round kick? It becomes a hook kick, okay? Now, with your side kick, you're pressing your heel out to the front. When you're doing your hook kick, you're going to go just a little bit off the target because you actually want to strike with your heel. So it looks like this. Again, I'm going to chamber up to the front. I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to throw my side kick. But instead of throwing it straight here, I'm going to throw it a little bit of an angle this way. Now, when I rechamber for the side kick, I bring it in like this. But for this kick, I'm going to rechamber it like a round kick. So I'm going to throw it off to the side, hook it back, and then set it down. Just like that.